In early September, the sunlight gets shorter each day, and an autumn chill is in the air. Aroused by primitive instincts, giant beasts emerge from their summer dormancy and come to life. It is the mating season of the woodland moose, the largest animal to walk the forests of eastern Canada and northern New England. The rut comes to solitary bulls only once a year, a brief period when high levels of testosterone turn their thoughts to the opposite sex. For eons, moose have evolved and adapted according to the cycle of the seasons. Their rhythms rise and fall each year with the ebb and flow of sunlight. The Northwoods lie under the spells of autumn splendor, short summers, and long, forbidding winters. Temperatures may rise to 90 degrees Fahrenheit in July, or plummet to near 40 below zero in January. Dense fog and clouds shroud the sun for more than half the year. This remote, rugged terrain of northern Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and eastern Canada harbors some of the highest concentrations of moose in North America. It is here where our story unfolds. A saga of life, birth, and death, repeated on countless lakes, mountains, and bogs throughout the Northwoods each year. In his search for female companionship, a dominant bull presents an imposing figure. His massive antlers can span 6 feet and weigh more than 50 pounds. From a bull's enormous neck hangs a bell, or dewlap. Those on adult males are usually long and wide, possibly serving as scent carriers during the rut. Standing about 6.5 feet at the shoulder and 9 feet in length, an adult woodland bull can tip the scales at well over 1,000 pounds. A cow usually weighs about 200 or 300 pounds less than her suitor. Even with his massive rack, a bull moose is surprisingly agile. The huge pair melt into the thick conifers like the fabric of the forest itself. Despite their immense size, moose usually lead peaceful, solitary lives. But these seemingly docile creatures can also be aggressive and belligerent. Adult woodland moose, weighing close to half a ton, have little to fear from other animals, except their own kind. During the rut, large bulls on the prowl can be dangerous and unpredictable. They have been known to charge hunters, photographers, and even vehicles. Because moose sometimes approach quite closely, they are thought to be slow-witted animals with poor eyesight. But their bold behavior belies an intellectual capacity that ranks very high among mammals, close to that of the horse. Moose see their world through a narrow field of view. They must turn their head or rotate their eyes independently to focus on a nearby image, but very little movement escapes them. On the edge of darkness, moose can see far beyond the boundaries of human vision. Their eyes have developed unique adaptations for a landscape illuminated only by the faint rays of a full moon. To discern images at night, moose can open the pupils in their eyes much wider than ours. They also pack more light-sensitive rods in their retina. Eyeshine in nocturnal creatures is produced by a layer of mirror-like cells called a tapetum. It magnifies and reflects light back on the retina and further enhances their ability to see in the dark. Hearing is thought to be as good or better than ours. In addition to large pivoting ears, a bull's antlers may act as parabolic receivers, amplifying distant sounds. But moose depend more on their nose than any of their other senses. It is their mysterious window to a world we do not fully comprehend. Through smell, moose find mates, select foods, and avoid enemies. With few, if any, natural predators living in his domain, an adult woodland bull seldom needs to run. But if startled, he might break into a high-stepping trot. When hard-pressed, a moose can sprint up to 35 miles an hour for short distances. Equally at home in water and on land, this cow can reach speeds up to 6 miles an hour as she crosses an expansive lake. Moose are powerful swimmers, but occasionally they do drown. The soft ground on the edge of the bogs and lakes also can become a death trap for these huge beasts. Sometimes an unfortunate moose gets hopelessly stuck in the spongy mud. Though moose have a potential lifespan of 20 years, most fail to reach their 15th birthday. Natural hazards, disease, and accidents take their toll. Confrontations between vehicles and moose often end tragically. About 600 moose are hit each year in the state of Maine alone. A collision with a lanky animal weighing close to 1,000 pounds often crushes the roof onto the occupants, causing serious injury or even death. Moose are protected by strict game laws, even when they take over northern highways. But conflicts between the growing moose herd and people have forced some states in New England to hold special lottery hunts. Several thousand bulls and a few hundred cows are shot in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont each fall. Canadian provinces set even higher limits on harvests. The reason for an expanding moose population in the North Woods may lie in a bitter irony. Vast tracts of these remote woodlands are owned by huge paper companies. While clear-cutting of forests can be harmful to many species of wildlife, it often benefits large herbivores like moose. In these new forest openings, sunlight helps regenerate young bushes and trees. This lush, second-growth habitat provides abundant food at just the right height for moose and other leaf-eating animals. Wildlife and people share this wilderness and the annual cycle of nature. Moose often prosper or perish by the will of man. But cows time their births to the rhythm of the seasons. By late May, the ice has finally retreated from a secluded wilderness lake. Compelled to reach a distant island to give birth, a mother moose and her yearling cross the frigid waters. Isolated aquatic areas offer some protection from calf predators. The pregnant cow knows her time is near. Inseparable for 1 year, she and the yearling now must part. After a gestation period of about 235 days, the cow delivers a 25 to 30-pound calf. Adult females living on good range often give birth to twins. Nursing periods are brief but frequent. Her calf can drink about 1/2 gallon of rich, flavored milk per day. Less than a day old, another newborn moose rests while its mother stands guard nearby. For the first few weeks of its life, the unsteady calf is at great risk from attack by predators such as black bears or timber wolves. Its survival depends on the legendary protective behavior of the mother moose. Ever cautious, a cow with a newborn calf will take on almost anything she considers a threat. Aroused from his winter sleep, a hungry black bear has wandered into their territory. Innocent of the virtues of silence, The calf calls out to its mother. Wisely, the bear gives them a wide berth. Along northern highways in the spring, salt runoff from snow and ice control attracts moose to roadside ditches. Because their winter diet lacks sodium, moose now crave this essential mineral and can slurp for hours. These long-legged creatures sometimes find it easier to kneel when eating or drinking. Thousands of people flock to the North Woods each year for recreation and moose watching. The sight of these huge animals can be powerful and mystifying, but also dangerous. A salty residue tempted this cow onto the center strip of a well-traveled road. It could be a fatal mistake. The cow reluctantly gives up her prize. The long days of spring are a time of great abundance. The hills and lakes are awash with hundreds of budding plants, wildflowers, and trees. Warmed by the sun, a multitude of creatures begin to stir the shallows once again. The promise of succulent aquatic plants has lured a hungry cow and her newborn calf to this remote mountain lake. The calf follows its mother's every move, which might mean braving deep water for the very first time. A young moose must be willing to take risks. Though barely 10 days old, it seems to have no trouble keeping up. But sometimes calves do drown. Bulls play no role in raising their offspring. At this time of year, they usually travel alone. Because of maternal demands, adult females are the last to shed their winter hair and regain their strength. Shivering in the cold water, the calf patiently waits while its mother feeds. The coat on this older bull already has changed, and his new antlers are beginning to display their distinctive profile. In warmer waters farther down the mountain, nature has laid out a feast of pondweed, yellow lilies, and water shield. At the height of the season, up to 30 moose might feed in the rich waters of a single northern lake. Aquatic plants attract moose for their high sodium content. Some of these plants supply up to 400 times more of this vital mineral than shrubs or trees on land. After a long winter fast, moose cannot seem to get enough of these tasty underwater treats. A large bull can eat 50 or more pounds per day. Keeping his head submerged for nearly a minute is no problem at all for a voracious young bull. Tireless feeders, bachelor males can gorge for hours. But a cow with calves remains always on the alert for danger. While feeding in shallow water, her sensitive ears constantly monitor the shoreline, where her twins remain safely hidden. This small female calf has a badly swollen front leg. Perhaps its mother accidentally rolled or stepped on it at birth. Competing with her larger brother for milk, she now faces possible starvation. The injured calf would make easy prey for this huge male black bear. But fortunately, he has not picked up her scent. Another, more insidious killer lurks along the lake edge. It poses a threat not only to the calves, but also to their mother. A seemingly harmless white-tailed doe may carry a deadly parasitic worm. Unaffected by it herself, she passes the parasite to snails, who sometimes feed on deer feces. The snails might then be accidentally ingested by a foraging moose. The worm larva may eventually travel to the moose's brain, causing paralysis and death. New studies, however, suggest this neurological disease is not always lethal or even debilitating. On her way back from eating at a lake, a cow and her twins are being followed closely. Last year's calf refuses to accept that his mother no longer wants him around. Before giving birth, most cows chase their yearlings away. But now, with new twins to care for, she cannot tolerate his persistence anymore. By mid-June, feeding in lakes reaches its peak and starts to diminish. Moose now spend more time satisfying their enormous appetites in young forests. Though moose lack upper front teeth, they have no trouble eating woody plants that make up much of their warm weather diet. They especially like mountain ash, willow, aspen, maple, and white birch. This bull's manner of eating probably engendered the word moose from an Algonquin Indian word that means twig eater that strips off. New vegetation, especially that growing in cool, shady areas, has a high concentration of protein, which nourishes the bull's growing antlers. As a bull gets older, his antlers develop wide, palmated beams. With proper nutrition, they will slowly increase in size until he reaches his prime, about age 8 to 10. Then his antlers will gradually decline. Shrouded in a velvet-like skin, growing antlers are rich in blood vessels and nerves. During this time, they are extremely delicate and can be damaged easily. In late June, bulls are docile and sensitive to temperatures above 60 degrees. After feeding in the morning, this large male has found a shady resting place where he can avoid the midday sun. For others, summer is a busy time. Many creatures, like this northern flicker, must raise their young in a few short months. On a distant lake, a female loon guards her lone chick. The male dives for minnows. At this time of year, young moose have more than doubled their weight since birth, and their youthful coats are also changing. Though nutritious leaves now make up a substantial part of their calories, older calves still enjoy an occasional drink of milk. By mid-July, an adult bull's antlers are growing about an inch per day, one of the fastest growing tissues in the animal world. In late summer, a hint of change filters through the mountains and the valleys. With the coming of autumn, the bull moose will be transformed. Triggered by decreasing sunlight, a bull's antlers make a startling metamorphosis. A sudden increase in testosterone cuts the blood supply to the velvet. Soon it will crack and peel. It takes him at least a day to shed the annoying strips. Meanwhile, the bull, who is normally a vegetarian, often chews and eats the bloody skin. Moose experts are at a loss to explain this peculiar behavior. Some suggest a nutritional need brought on by the upcoming breeding season. A large male also reveals his aggressive personality as he abandons the velvet on trees and bushes. After several days, only a few dried pieces hang in tatters. By the first week in September, most older bulls have shed their velvet. They are soon followed in this annual ritual by younger, palmated males, and finally by those with only forks and spikes. Soon after velvet removal, bulls of equal stature often engage in sparring matches. These mock battles test their strength and endurance. Sparring contests sometimes escalate into serious fights, but antlers rarely become locked together. Usually these contests end without serious injury to either participant. Waging a form of cold war with his rivals, this young male aggressively thrashes shrubs and young trees. Before the rut or mating season, a dominant bull usually travels alone. He displays his impressive antlers to cows and adversaries alike. The size of his rack communicates his rank and social position, often eliminating the need for conflict. On a still morning in late September, the plaintive moan of a female moose may carry for more than a mile. Cows often entice rutting bulls to open areas around bogs or lakes. An amorous male eagerly salivates in the presence of a receptive female. Scent molecules in the saliva probably aid in the communication between him and his new mate. The cow's invitation has also attracted two lesser suitors. Totally outclassed, they can only look on. Courtship between woodland moose usually involves couples. The ritual can last for up to a week, so a tending bull must be patient. During this honeymoon of sorts, the two playfully touch and sniff each other. Scent plays an important role in their bonding. Hoping to entice his mate, an ardent bull has scraped out a shallow pit and bathes in a pool of mud and urine. A bull in the rut keeps a close watch on a cow entering her heat, or estrus cycle. To test her readiness, he places his chin on her rump and positions himself for possible mounting. The cow ovulates and permits copulation only during a brief 24-hour period. For now, the bull will have to wait. In the midst of the splendid color and tranquility of early autumn, the rutting season for moose reaches its peak. Driven by hormones, adult bulls are on the move. They may leave their home range of about 10 square miles in their tireless search for a female coming into heat. When a bull finds a place where a cow urinated, he performs flamen. This strange behavior enables him to decipher sex pheromones that enter a sensing organ in the roof of his mouth. Consumed with passion, a bull in the rut can go for weeks without eating. But a cow continues to search for food, even when mating is imminent. A large male might lose up to 20% of his body weight in a little more than a month. After copulation, the cow slowly drifts off. Her calf will be born almost 8 months from now. It doesn't take long for the bull to find a new mate, but soon the number of receptive females will dwindle, and his interest too will wane. As stands of aspen and beech turn to gold, and brilliantly colored maple leaves have long faded, the rutting season slowly draws to a close. A dominant bull now returns to a more solitary life. Nearly 100 pounds lighter, he desperately needs to replenish his fat reserve. He will spend the remaining days of autumn dining on tender balsam fir needles, buds, and fallen leaves. Another bull searches for the last remnants of food in a secluded mountain lake. With a cold wind blowing from the north, he knows there may only be time for one final feast before the ice sets in. A pregnant cow and her 5-month-old male calf also prepare for winter. He has put on nearly 300 pounds, and both have grown a thick brown coat for the harsh days that lie ahead. Migratory birds, like Canada geese, also sense the change of season and begin their long journey south. By November, the sun slowly abandons this land. An icy chill sifts through the air, depositing more than a foot of fresh snow. Weather, as well as terrain, play a part in how animals adapt to their environment. Those that live in the North Woods must be well suited to the demands of the harsh climate. To shield themselves from the elements, moose grow thick, double-layered coats. The hollow hair on the outer layer can reach 8 inches in length, and snow can cling to this impressive insulation for hours without melting. A lone bull has found a resting spot to chew his cud. This adaptation enables him to eat quickly and then re-chew partially digested food later in protective cover. Though the breeding season ended weeks ago, these bulls still have fairly high levels of testosterone. The shorter days in early winter gradually lower hormone levels in adult bulls. This alters their aggressive personality and also causes a layer of tissue to form between the antler base and skull. To relieve irritation from the swelling, bulls sometimes rub tree trunks. Eventually, each antler loosens, and when there is no longer enough to support it, it falls. Some bleeding occurs at the pedicle or base, but the wound usually heals within a day or two. This bull will spend the winter in relative obscurity. By January, most older males have cast off their once magnificent racks. This enables them to move freely through deep snow without the burden of carrying 40 or 50 pounds of extra weight. Younger males with small forks or spikes often retain their antlers until February or even March. Rival bulls now declare a temporary truce. Survival becomes more important than anything else. With long, powerful legs, moose can travel effortlessly through 2 feet of fresh snow to reach their favorite feeding areas. But as the snow deepens, moose move into thick stands of spruce and other conifers. Food and cover can be found beneath their protective branches. Balsam fir is the food of choice in this cow's winter diet. She can stretch her long neck to reach tender needles 6 or 7 feet above the forest floor. Moose also feed in forest openings. The fibrous branches of deciduous trees and shrubs make a tempting but lean meal. Faced with a sparse winter diet, moose are forced to live off the fat reserves of their own body. A hungry cow desperately searches for fallen leaves that were an important item on her autumn menu, but now they are covered with 3 feet of snow. On a nearby lake, 2 feet of ice seal off the once abundant food supply. In the depths of winter, temperatures may plummet to near 40 below zero, and winds can gust over 50 miles per hour. During these bitter days, moose conserve energy by minimizing travel. They spend countless hours chewing their cud and resting. A red fox embraces the piercing cold by curling up in a furry ball. Each frigid day is another step toward spring. As the days steadily grow longer in late March, the wilderness slowly awakens. Bathed in the warm light, thick ice on lakes begins to melt, and soon the cry of loons will be heard across this vast expanse. By April, moose are leaving their cold isolation behind. Driven by hunger, they head for the valley below. During an especially lean winter, a large bull might lose several hundred pounds from his huge frame. Antler growth places new demands on bulls to find highly nutritious buds and leaves. But for now, the only food available is coarse stems. As the snows gradually recede in the lingering last days of winter, moose begin to sense the return of spring. Trees and other plants dormant for nearly 7 months bring forth new life. In the North Woods, winter gives way to spring only reluctantly. Even in late May, snow clings to distant peaks. But beneath the warming waters, plants have begun to grow. It will soon be time for this yearling moose and its mother to go their separate ways, and the timeless rhythms that celebrate the renewal of life begin their annual cycle. once more.